It's exactly 4 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. And of course, we're still driving the business. Smart means business. And above all, don't forget, you want to purchase stocks on Alltech Securities. Zabu is here for you. My money, my future. You'll be in position to actually purchase stocks in whatever company. You will be also in position to buy government bonds. Just there, star 292 hash. And you'll be availed with quite a variety of options. And among the stars, you will select what is really very viable for you. Remember, the markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. and they close at 3:15 p.m. Yes, East African time. And definitely that entire deal transaction, you will be actually be able to earn yourself an extra income as a trader right there. I know this is money that you earn without really moving out there. Zabu has made it easy for you. So there are no more excuses saying that I don't really understand how the shares work. How can I buy shares? Zab just made it much more easy for you. Deep down in the village as a farmer, you could be a farmer right there and you're thinking, how can I do this? Yes, with Zabo you can. As long as you have MTN, star 292 hash, you will be availed with quite lots of options and no more excuses. You will be earning quite an extra income. And another thing, you will be in position to actually sell your shares at whatever time you want, and you will be in position to get back your money that very moment. Start 92 hash, and everything will be made much more easy. Okay, now away from that, we are heading into the business tips and thoughts. Of course, getting inspired as an entrepreneur right there, we start your day with inspiration quotes from some of what I call the people that have walked ahead of time regarding business. These are people that have quite a lot of experience in terms of business management. They have gone through a lot, and I'll tell you that most of these quotes were written as an inspiration of their experiences. So I think it's very important that you don't take them lightly. They add a break to your success towards business. And of course, firstly, let's review the business tip of the day today, which says focus on established revenue sources. Very interesting. Let me first go through it. And of course, we shall be getting to dissect what it really calls for. It says that rather than trying to acquire new customers, direct your attention to the core customers you already have, actually. You can do this by implementing a referral or customer loyalty program or trying out marketing strategies based on previous purchasing behaviors to encourage repeat business. That's very, very, very interesting. And, so many times we think about aspect that, hey, I need more customers. I want to expand my business. But ask yourself a question. How have you utilized the little customers that you have used? That you have acquired already? Jesus said that if you're not faithful in the little, how can you get much? It's a principle that works. So as a business person, you need to really understand this concept. It's very important. How you handle the little you have, how you treat them, because we are looking at focus on established revenue sources, because as you grow, the market keeps on growing. We always think that for me to be on top of my game, I have to really win all these thousands, but it is okay to win the thousands, but how are you going to maintain them? This is what we're talking about, establishment. Get established with the little you have. You grow with that little, and trust me, success will be inevitable on your side regarding that particular aspect. So get to understand that being a very, very, very important concept. And on set with me, join with Joram Paul Sonko, and of course we're going to be going to take us through the business word of the day and see what really, how can you get inspired in that particular aspect. Good morning, Joram.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you doing? It's a cold morning here in JINJA.
Exactly.
And for all the viewers out there in Smart 24 TV, how are you doing? Hope you're okay. It's been a weekend that was a bit tight. As we continue to look at what the quote does say, coming in from Samuel Beckett, who is an Irish avant-garde novelist and playwright. He says, ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail again, and this time around you will fail better. Says, ever tried, ever failed, that does not matter at all. You try again, you fail again, you're failing better. So at the end of the day, as we continue to look at how life moves on, how business moves on, how we transition every other day that passes by, you get to realize that life is not something that you will definitely be getting on a silver platter in one way or the other. Sometimes you will fail, the other day you will bounce back steadily. So if you fail today, try again. Fail tomorrow, you're not failing as you failed yesterday, you're only failing better. Or you failed to succeed so well yesterday, you may succeed even far better or far-fetched than it was for you tomorrow. So that is what the court is actually telling us. That ever failed, don't worry. That is not something you should be looking at. You should be looking at how you're going to succeed tomorrow. See how you're going to go by that particular failure that you regard to as failure. But of course, it's not failure. It is more of the lessons that you experience every time you're living in life. So that is our quote of this morning as well.
Thank you, Joram, for that really amazing quote, and hope as if you are right there, you've been able to pick a lead from what Joram has been sharing from that particular quote, getting to understand, embrace failure. Definitely success awaits at the end of the day. Okay, now away from that, let's head straight to the business update. And this time around, we're looking at the Uganda Small Scale Industries Association an insight, their insight regarding the free zones. Do you know what really free zones are? What are they relevant for? Are they only meant for big scale industries? Well, this might be actually being positioned to change your concept regarding what you think about the Free Zones Authority. This is what Uzia, or Uganda Small Scale Industries Association, has to say in regards to the free zones.
Under the Uganda Free Zone Authority, there are two kinds of free zones. One is the private free zone, where once the government gives you a license to operate your free zone, you can start your free zone on your own piece of land. But there's also what we call the public free zone, where the government sets up a free zone area where local producers can come and do business from. So the good news is that the government of Uganda, through the Uganda Free Zone Authority, has set up a public free zone at the Entebbe Airport. This free zone is going to be facilitating any industrialists that may want to produce for the external market. The good news is that in a bid to support and make business easier for the local producers, the government has actually already set up all the infrastructure, industrial infrastructure, that may be required at the free zone. All the utilities are there, there's the power, there's the water, and you can be able to set up. But it has also been able to set up facilities where you can produce from, call them the warehouses. So what industrialists will be doing, because it's at the Entebbe Airport, this is a big advantage, because you're able now, because of its proximity to the airport, these local producers or manufacturers are able to have their products manufactured from the free zone at the Entebbe Airport, and because of the proximity, can be able to export it directly through the Entebbe Airport and take it to the export markets in other countries. One of the greatest advantages of this free zone is that the government has also made it very easy for the free zone developers, whereby they've also been able to put the different services that these free zone developers might want to tap into. For example, as an industrialist, you might want government services, maybe under the URSP, maybe under the UNBS, you might want to have your product certified. Maybe you might want to register with the URA, and all the different government services. So the free zone, this public free zone at the Entebbe Airport will have all these, the URSB, UNBS, URA, and you can be able to access all these services from this point that you are manufacturing from. Well, of course, with the pandemic, and many of us entrepreneurs looked at it as a big shot that affected businesses. Of course, a number of businesses collapsed as a result of the pandemic. It had a lot of effects. A number of businesses collapsed. Others had challenges with the performances. The pandemic had a lot of its negative effects on the private sector. A number of businesses closed down. Others that remained operating were still struggling. But we want to appreciate the fact that a number of businesses were still standing, and they have managed to swim through the challenges that came even after the pandemic. The good news is that the pandemic is slowly but surely moving out. But we want to say that as entrepreneurs, probably while it had its negative effects, we need to appreciate the fact that this pandemic had its positive effects. We need to look at how were we able to learn, what lessons were learned, and what benefits. As a matter of fact, while other businesses were closing, you realize that a number of other businesses were opening as a result of a pandemic. You know that, the likes of businesses that are into producing masks and others tapped into the opportunities. And those are some of the lessons that we need to learn. Maybe one of the lessons that was learned was where many of us as entrepreneurs were using strategies or marketing, sales, business strategies that were affected by the pandemic. For example, when the lockdown came in and people are not allowed to move, people are not allowed to open their shops, people who could not use the digital marketing had challenges. But that is where other people who saw it as an opportunity took advantage. People, instead of having to sit, close their shops, close their factories, and cry, many of us decided to instead take advantage of the digital marketing and started selling products from online. Others use website. A number of us use the social media, that's the likes of WhatsApp, Facebook, because people are now spending more time online. And that is how a number of businesses actually got back on their feet. So as entrepreneurs, as SMEs, we need to learn from these pandemics. While they had negative effects, I think we need to look at the positive side of what lessons are learned. And one of the key areas we need to look at is how do we prepare for ourselves just in case this pandemic or something related like it could come back. Recently, we had this other disease that threatened to come. That is Ebola. And people started talking about Ebola affecting the likes of the districts that were being closed down. Everyone was worried. But I appreciate the fact that a number of entrepreneurs, instead of now crying about the close down, they were looking at how do we, in the event that this Ebola comes and there are lockdowns and we are affected, how do we remain and swim through the pandemics? And many of them were looking at how do I save, how do I work on my marketing, how do I work on my marketing strategy, how do I work on my distribution, how do I make sure even when there's a lockdown, I can still be able to produce and be able to supply and be able to make the money. A number of entrepreneurs across where instead of lamenting and crying and asking the president not to close down, we're looking at how do we work on our readiness to make sure we don't fall victims of what happened when the first pandemic came in. So we need to prepare ourselves. We need to make sure if there are lockdowns, how can we still operate and run our businesses even when these lockdowns come? But we also want to appreciate the fact that despite the challenges of the pandemic, the government has actually also taken it upon itself to see how the government can support these SMEs that were affected. There was one of them is the government fund that the government offered the SMEs, the recovery fund, where SMEs were given a recovery fund, I think between 1 and 100 million, where they could access that fund for anyone who was doing business during the pandemic. Government, through the commercial banks, could offer that kind of support. The government has also tried to do a lot of sensitization, not just the government, but even other stakeholders, to see how they can prepare these SMEs, to see how do we be ready and prepare ourselves in case something like this happens. So we appreciate that, and as an association, we want to appeal to SMEs. Let's need to always be ready. You know, the white man says that once bitten, twice shy. We were bitten by the pandemic that came, that is COVID, and because of that, we are now always ready and prepared. So we appreciate the way the entrepreneurs prepared themselves, and even when we are lucky that these lockdowns have not been able to come, at least people are still doing their business, and we are seeing businesses grow and multiply as we walk through the different challenges of the economy. As an association, we are an association of Uganda Small Scale Industries Association. So what does industries mean? Industries means that anyone who is doing business that is industrial or is manufacturing something. In simple words, it's any business that is into value addition. What is value addition? Value addition is anything that involves you turning a raw material into another product. Use a certain product or a raw material and make another one. I'm going to give a simple example. We have obutunda, that is passion fruit. You can simply getting an example of value adding value is when you get the passion fruits and you turn them into juice. You have simply added value, changing a product from its raw or original state and making it better by adding value to it. So you can add value to almost anything. People who are into agriculture, for example, we have people who are into maize growing. When you get that maize and you take it to the milling machine and they mill it for you and you pack it and sell it, you have added value to it. So all that involves value addition. Getting a raw material, a product from its original form, and use whatever means, whatever machine or whatever approaches you want to use and turn it into a better product. Others, for example, I want to use simple examples. Others are into growing of kamulali. That is, yes, simple kamulali. I've seen now people who get this kamulali, instead of selling the raw kamulali, they now get the kamulali, and some of them have dried it and have put it in bottles. All that is value addition. So value addition can either be small scale or large scale. But then we also have these other bigger businesses that are into value addition. People are into the different sectors of value addition. Others are in woodwork and carpentry. You've gotten the wood, you have cut it and turned it into chairs. You've gotten others are into welding and metal fabrication. You've got the metals, you have burnt it, and you've turned it into very good-looking chairs and tables. So value addition is a whole big stretch, and you can either do it from your home or you can do it from your factory. You can do it at a large scale or a small scale. So all those ones are, as long as you're into value addition and you're adding value to any product to make another product, then you qualify to be an industrialist and you qualify to be a member of Uganda Small Scale Industry Association.
A very interesting insight right there. That's Ruzia talking about the pre-zones, getting to understand what really are pre-zones all about. You know, of course, there is a question, there is a mindset that you've been having probably that, you know, I think to be a part of the pre-zones, I need to be at a certain degree, you know, of like regarding my business should be at a certain degree. But definitely the Uganda Small Scale Industries Association, or Ruzia, is coming to tell you that the pre-zones is actually anybody you can participate as long as you fulfill the requirements that you need to fulfill. But that will be something very remarkable to understand. And of course, as a trader out there, you want to buy stocks on Alltech Securities and make an extra income. Zabu is right here for you. You just dial *292# and you'll be availed with quite lots of options right there, and you will be in position to choose what's your favorite package. You know, the government bonds, the company securities, you know, and this can be done at whatever part of the globe you are at. You know, you are in the village, no excuse this time around. You know, so many times when we talk about stocks, it sounds a little bit a complex item, but Zabas just made it very easy for you. No complication. simply start to 92 hash, and of course the magic will be starting up. Like I told you, you'll be availed with quite a variety of options: government bonds, and of course 5-year bonds, 1-year bond, depending on the choice that you really feel like that you should do. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and they close at exactly 3:15 p.m. That's East African time. And remember also that you're in position to sell your stocks at whatever time you feel like. You may be saying, I'm tired of this, I want to sell my stocks. Yes, you can do it at that instant time, and your money will be paid to you back to your account, of course, with a profit in that regard. So Zabo just made the trading much more easier. And as a trader, besides your physical business that you're doing out there is this other business online. Can I say you're transacting in online? And it's actually your money working out for you. You don't wake up, you don't hustle, it will keep on multiplying slowly by slowly. But Zabo just made it much more easy for you. My money, my future. All right, it's exactly 24 minutes. That's past the hour of 8 a.m. And at this particular time, let's get into a short break. And when we return, of course, quite so many interesting aspects from the sports business. And of course, not forgetting the entertainment towards the top of the hour. Stick around. Good morning.